Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex Torelli. Welcome back to a hand of the day. I'm bringing you this one outside. I'm loving the great weather, so I'm filming a lot of videos here. Who wants to be inside when you don't have to be? Anyway, let's get into it. Got an awesome hand of the day here from Michael, who's playing some 1-3 live no limit hold'em. All right, we got some 1-3 live no limit hold'em. We're in second position. We opt to make it $10 with ace 10 of spades. Mid position calls and the small blind calls. And we go three ways to the flop. What am I saying? We go three ways to the flop. Flop comes 10-9-4. Small blind checks. It's on us. And here it's tempting to bet. We got top pair, top kicker, and it's just a spot where it's like we want to protect our hand. We want to protect against draws. There's a lot of scare cards that come on the turn. But I actually like a weird opt to check play here. And the reason I like the check is twofold. One is because if we have air, like we have ace queen, ace king, king queen even, we might even check fold this flop. If we have pocket sevens, we're going to check fold. There's so much of our range that's going to give up here because it's not a good spot to c-bet. If mid position calls and the small blind calls, it's likely that one of them has a hand that can continue post flop. Because of that, it's not a spot we're going to c-bet light that often. And so if we're going to be checking this flop with a lot of our air, a good way to balance that out and make us harder to play against is to check with some of our strong hands as well. Ace 10 is definitely one of those hands. It's a good hand to check with, I think, because it allows us to have a check calling range on this board. Now, it's also hard for us to get 3 streets of value with this hand, right? There's so many turns and rivers that are going to come that are going to force us to check one street, and checking the flop is a reasonable place to start. So I would probably check this flop, look to go for value on the turn, keep my range wider and more balanced, and go about it that way. I would also be planning on check calling down if that mid position guy is going to start barreling. So you kind of keep your opponent's hands, you keep your opponent's range wider because they can have more air when you check, and you allow them to bluff and give them rope. That's probably what I would do in this spot. As played, we decide to bet 15, which I think is just too small. If we're gonna bet this flop, I'm gonna just bet big. I don't have that many bluffs here. I'm not gonna be betting with like ace king of spades. I'm gonna check fold that hand. So when I do bet, my range is narrower, which means that I need to bet bigger. I don't need to bet smaller to keep more bluffs in my range because there's not that many bluffs. My bluffs have a lot of equity. I'm going to have, big heart draws or queen jack or something like that. So I'm going to bet bigger. I'm going to bet 35-40 here and really go for max pressure and value town. Betting 15 I think is just too small. I like what he's doing, but it's better reserved for better reserved for board textures that are dry, like 10 deuce deuce is different. 10-9-4 with a flush draw, different texture, much more coordinated. There's more hands your opponents can call with. You want to go bigger. So I would bet 40 here. As played, we bet 15, and the mid position folds. The villain in the small blind makes it 50. Now this is a really tough spot for us because we sort of put ourselves in this spot where we're giving him incentive to check raise. Had we bet 40 and he check raised to 150, he's going to have a lot bigger balls to check raise with air because it costs him a lot more. But when we bet 15, he's basically putting in the amount he would have put in had we just bet the pot. So he's getting a better price on his check raise. We gave him incentive to check raise, which I don't really like because I don't really know what to do. There's not that many combos of hands that beat us. He can only have one combo of 10-9 suited, 3 combos of 9s, 3 combos of 4s, 1 combo of 10s. So there's just not that many hands that beat us. He might be check raising a 10 for value now because we bet so small. Maybe he's check raising with ace 10. Maybe he's check raising with a weaker 10. Maybe he's check raising with a draw, planning on repping hearts. So I just don't really know where I'm at. And it's a really tough spot because there's going to be a lot of turns that are going to be bad for us. We might get bluffed off our hand. As played, I would call this bet. If I bet 40 and he check raised, I would probably fold. But as played, because we bet so small, I expect his range to be wider, meaning our equity is going to be higher. So I would call this bet. We're also getting a good price. The pot is 100. We're calling 35. We're getting almost 3-1. So I think I would have to call this bet in position. Fold if a heart comes on the turn. Call down otherwise. It's a tough spot, but we kind of put ourselves there. As played, I'm going to call. We're going to go heads up to the turn. The turn comes an offsuit 10, and now our opponent bets $75. Now this is a great spot to continue calling down. When we call, our range is wider. We can still have maybe some flush draws, maybe we're floating with queen jack trying to rep a 10, maybe we have a 10, maybe we have some over pairs. But if you think about how we want to play this spot on the turn, what most of our range wants to do is call. We're not going to have that many hands that can justify raising here. If we have a weak 10 like 10-8, Jack 10, we're still probably going to want to call for balance and pot control. If we have overpairs, we're going to want to call. If we have flush draws, we're going to want to call. Straight draws are going to want to call. Some of our range is going to want to fold. But in order to make our range more balanced, in order to make sure that when we call, we don't only have bluff catchers, we also need to call with hands for balance, like ace 10, like boats. If we're raising all of our 10s here, then what that means when we call is we never have anything except a bluff catcher, and our range will be too unbalanced on the river. So in order to keep our range wider, in order to keep our range more balanced, in order to make ourselves tougher to play against, make ourselves more unpredictable, we need to flat here with ace 10. We need to flat this turn and then flat pretty much any river. So as played, we opt to make it 200, our opponent jams and we call. But I think our play here should be to flat and keep our range wider and more balanced for the reasons I said before. As played, we make it 200, our opponent now jams all in, and of course we have to call here. We're calling 140, the pot is massive, we can't really fold. Maybe he has a worse 10, like getting it in is profitable, but I think from a long-term perspective, it's better for our range and our overall game plan if we forego some of our short-term profit from this raising and getting it in to keep our in effort to keep our range more balanced. As played, we get it in, he turns over 2 9s, which sucks because we're behind, and we have to run it out. So I think here, you know, there's really nothing we could do. We end up running it out. The river comes a deuce, it blanks off, and we lose a big hand. But I hope you took something away from this video. I hope you liked it. Let me know your thoughts in a comment below. How would you have played this hand? Should we be betting smaller on this flop? Should we be checking the flop for balance? Should we be getting it in on the turn? Let me know your thoughts in a comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys. I appreciate all your support. You guys are awesome. If you want more from me and how to better balance your range, how to better put your opponents on hands, how to make yourself more unpredictable and difficult to play against, download my hand reading system. It's absolutely free at ConsciousPoker.com. You can click the link below. I make it absolutely free for everybody. It's some of our best content. I really spent a lot of time putting it together, and I really think it'll help your game play against any opponent you face, especially in these smaller stakes games where people are really unpredictable. It helps create a system that you can use to outplay your opponents and make more money at the games you're playing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for your attention. I appreciate it. Much love to everybody. See you guys next time. Peace.